Marvel Studios announced, and this was reported by all the trades, Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, New Rockstars host on Twitter, that Avengers Doomsday, previously coming out on May 1st, 2026, has been pushed back 6 months to December 18th, 2026. Avengers Secret Wars is now releasing on was going to be May 7th, 2027, now coming out December 17th, 2027. There were some titles on Disney's slate that were unclaimed. February 13th, 2026, that was previously just called Untitled Marvel Project, removed from the schedule now.
That was going to be probably the Blade spot.
Yeah, I think the Blade
That was
spot,
supposed to be the Blade spot.
Gonzo. The dates of November 6th, 2026 and November 5th, 2027, they want to keep those first weekends in November gone. They just want now the Avengers movies to be the end of the year big events. And now they're being amended to simply just have untitled Disney films. So that could be, we know that there are some Disney movies in the works.
Yeah.
My wife might know some of the stuff about that because she just knew some of the gossip there.
And this
but
is
they haven't
over.
announced
This is
it.
the umbrella of Disney. So
Yeah,
is this also
could be
included?
anything.
It could be anything. Okay.
It could be anything. It could be, Alien or Predator
Yeah.
sequels. Could be anything. Now, in the place of Doomsday's old release date, Disney's going to be having The Devil Wears Prada 2 to now open on May 1st, 2026.
Makes sense. That's the only movie that can take that spot.
Yeah. So now, in place of Avengers Doomsday's old slot, on May 1st, 2026, we'll now release The Devil Wears Prada 2. And we were talking a bit about that. Was that Meryl Streep probably with a new intern that she verbally abuses?
Is yelling at,
Yeah.
doesn't get the burger right. She's divorced now. Maybe she might be married because that's how I've watched so much Devil Wears Prada.
Does
I
the
can't wait-
Tooch come back?
Okay. He should come back, but remember that she kind of betrayed him at the end. And,
She did.
and
What
he
if he's
stayed.
now the head of a rival
I hope
publication?
so. I really hope so. I hope he is his own self, but I could also see Stanley Tucci staying there for the last 15 years.
Yeah. Okay, so, but I went into how this affects like Spider-Man Brand New Day, which now it was going to be between Avengers movies. Now it's going to be before Doomsday. It's going to be the next movie after Fantastic Four: First Steps. 1 year later will be Spider-Man Brand New Day.
I like that, but it also, I think, tells us that it's not going to really be affected by Doomsday or...
Good.
Yeah.
Let it be its own story with Mr. Negative,
Yeah.
Sadie Sink playing some character. I don't want it to be a multiverse thing. I don't want her to be Mayday Parker, daughter of Tobey Maguire, Peter Parker. I don't want that. Let it be a more truer adaptation of the Brand New Day era of the comics after these crazy Mephisto events. What I want to talk to you about, Jess, is this question of the May 2027, because we know that there are Star Wars movies coming out in the final weekend of May for 2026 and 27. 26, we have Mandalorian Grogu. And then in 2027, we have the Ryan Gosling Starfighter movie. But May 7th, 2027, currently nothing is slated for that. And I think what they're going to do at San Diego Comic-Con is announce a big movie coming in between Doomsday and Secret Wars. We have a number of options.
Yes.
I want to run through all of them just to quickly list them. Blade. Ryan Coogler's Black Panther 3. Doctor Strange 3. Shang-Chi 2. Thor 5. We could have Deadpool and Wolverine 2. And they could squeeze in a Fantastic Four 2, or they could squeeze in a Thunderbolts New Avengers movie, removing them from Doomsday and putting them in their own movie that's set in between Doomsday and Secret Wars.
And this placement is in between both still, right?
Still in between. Or, Marvel Studios could just surrender it, and it could be some other completely different movie
That's
that
true.
releases.
But if it is a Marvel, let's think what we're
Let's
thinking right
assume
now.
for now. Yeah.
And what I'm assuming right now is I think it would be disastrous to have Doctor Strange in the first movie, then have his solo movie in the middle, and then show up again. That would just be confusing to audiences that are new to Marvel that don't understand that maybe like Black Widow, this takes time before Doomsday.
Yeah.
It would be too confusing. And I think the same would go for Thor.
Yes, I agree with you.
So I don't think it's those two, unfortunately. But they would have time!
I think it's very possible that they save that May 7th, 2027 for Deadpool and Wolverine 2. And that's why Hugh Jackman was so coy on The View. And, I mean, that was a guaranteed hit for Marvel. Like, they made $1 billion last summer from that. And people would love to see those two team up again. It's so meta. You don't need to worry about Doomsday or Secret Wars with
It
Deadpool
just
and
costs
Wolverine.
an arm and a leg.
Yeah, it depends how they do it. I think Ryan Reynolds can work cheap.
I don't think he's
I think he
going
works
to.
cheap. I think he works fast, and those two will clear their schedules for this. Neither of them were announced for Doomsday.
I think he writes without the idea that money's a problem. Ryan Reynolds. He writes like we can afford to do anything.
Well, he'll just sell a product placement for for Sprint or for
That's true.
What else does he have? Stoke.
It depends on how that lawsuit goes. Look, my boy. I'll tell you right now what didn't do well, A Simple Favor 2.
So really the reason there's just an asterisk by that May 7th, 2027 is if you zoom in, it's just Justin Baldoni's smirk. It's just him going, we'll see what the jury says.
Him and his lawyer going like,
but I'm actually a nice guy, I swear.
Oh, have you seen my podcast?
It's Baldoni's hands just doing this to make the asterisk.
Damn. Nah, if he can write it, keep the idea that money is in mind. I think Marvel would absolutely give it to him. That's an easy thing to sell off immediately. Everyone's gonna go see another Deadpool movie. We want another Deadpool movie.
I mean, that requires, I think, the least amount of creative retooling. You can just sandwich Deadpool in anywhere, and like 2 years from now is plenty of time for that. I think the creatively most difficult would either be Thunderbolts or Black Panther 3, just because like I don't really know the way Ryan Coogler makes these movies. Is he doesn't need for them to be like big summer movies. He wants them to be like creatively, fascinatingly designed movies that invite you into these worlds and into your own souls to rethink your own view of the world. And does that make sense as a first May weekend release? Yeah. I think people would go see it no matter when it comes out.
Yeah, I'd see it regardless, period.
It's just interesting. Ryan Coogler is, becoming now one of our highest profile directors. Has he had like a big summer box office release yet? He's done like fall and early spring releases.
I think those things he doesn't really think about. He's just like, I want to write for myself. Or not write for myself. He's writing a story for us and for Marvel, but he's also like, I'm more about how I'm going to do this. I don't really think about the money afterwards that it's going to make.
Yeah.
But I just know that villain is going to be conflicted, and we're going to be like, oh, he's a bad guy. But is he a bad guy? Because that's what he does in all of his movies. So I'm always I'm like, how are you going to make Denzel horrible, but also understandable? And
that's if he's horrible. There's been some rumors that Denzel could be like Magneto in the
There is
MCU.
no such thing as Denzel playing a good guy.
Yeah, I think at this point he's...
Has Denzel ever played... Be honest. Does Denzel play like an actually not crooked person?
Yes, lots of times. He was the coach in Remember the Titans.
Oh.
He was John Q.
Crooked. No, I'm joking.
He's a good... He's been kind of split in between good and bad.
Of Training Day, American Gangster.
Fences. He was just like a great guy in Fences. I think there's been a good mix of Denzel, good and bad.
Okay. I think he loves playing a villain, and I think he's good at playing a bad guy.
And he's one of our best actors when it comes to playing a range of moralities.
That's why I'm like, I think he's gonna be a bad guy. I don't think he's gonna play a good guy. That's impossible.
So I don't know. I'm kind of thinking like if they keep it, it's a Deadpool movie. Give Ryan Coogler any date in 2028 that he wants. If he wants the February or March of 2028 and then summer 2028, give us the X-Men. Yeah. I swear to God, if you delay X-Men.
That's why I thought it was going to end up being like an X-Men movie. I don't think they're going to delay it.
No, I think they're going to have to wait till after Secret Wars for X-Men.
Yeah, and then that starts the Mutant Saga. That is we're going to be in the Mutants for 10 years. 12 years? 30?
I think so.
25?
He said the next 10 years. Yeah, I do think, though, that a lot of this adjustment is for quality over quantity.
That's what Bob said.
That's what Bob says, and I think that's what Feige wants. I don't think he wants to focus on more than 1 to 2 movies a year.
I understand.
So maybe we don't get like a February or March release date anymore, and we just stick to May and December, and sometimes just December.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think realistically, the slot will probably either be wiped or go to like a Disney.
But December 2028 is already occupied by Avatar 4.
And you don't want to put something out.
So I think they're going to have a May 2028 release after that.
Sure.